All right, so what we're going to do is we'll look at these letters, problematic letters first, right? And then we'll look at the alphabet, because this also gives you a break from writing. And we will then look at, so we'll look at the problematic letters that you've asked for first, and then we'll look at the alphabet, both the uppercase and the lowercase, and I'm going to use two different ways to look at them. Okay, so 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2/3, a 6 and a 6. So that's your base. Remember, inhale, hairline, exhale, line of universal beauty, curve, not the curl, down, up, back, up, and down, and up, and down, and down, and out. Excuse me, chalk dust. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. That should have been 6. Sorry. So I'm just going to write the letters. 1 and 2 and that and that. Now, I tend to make my B quite deep in the bold. Can you see that? The reason being, if you do this, does your B end up like that?
Sometimes.
Okay, look at this, look at that, look at this, and look at that, look at this, and look at that, and look at this, and look at that. So always aim to keep it in the parallelogram structure, rather than a rhombic structure. So we then have 1, 2, tight turn, slow, slow, no pressure, pressure, release, up and down. Why? Because you don't want to go 1, 2, and 3. Because you undershoot it, you'll miss the curve, and then you end up doing that ugly nonsense. Other thing to be careful of is this. And 1. Remember? Oh, I'd forgotten I have a double height. Ghost it first. Always ghost it so that you know that you're not, that you know that you have enough space to move. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and reverse comma down and around and up and stop. Don't come down and flick out, because look at the direction this is moving in. So if you try to join this to an I, that's telling you the word is going back this way, it's not going that way. Other shape to be conscious of is this. 1 and 2, little line, and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and out. So notice the flat top B is shorter than the looped B. Yeah? Of course, you could add flourishes to this. You could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. If you really wanted to. Obviously, you don't do it in a sentence, in the middle of a word, inside a paragraph. And so the B can do this as well. Line of universal beauty, curl, come down and up and back and down. Notice how this looks smaller than the bottom. because it is a little smaller. So remember, historically, the letter B was a little bit high, sorry about that. So it's like that, and that. So the top bowl is always smaller than the bottom bowl. Z. Yeah. 1. One, 2, 3, 4. Right. This is how I reason the Z. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. Look, it's a Z.
Lightning struck.
So by following the bowls, the axial shift in the bowls, it can really help you to balance the letter. And also, that's parallel. That's parallel. This shape is normally, roughly, half of this size. And if you follow the elliptical confinement, 1 and 2 and 3 and up and around and over and back, let's look at what is happening here visually. 1, 2, 3. So this point divides the ellipse in half.
Yeah.
So we go back to the structure of the yin and yang symbol. Next, lowercase z, baseline, x height, up and down and back and around. So you don't want to do this because it doesn't really look that nice, and it's huge. That's huge compared to that. Now, the Germans have this Z. We also have this Z, and we have this Z. You have lots of choice, but look at the balance. Look at this balance. Look at this balance. But this doesn't quite work that well. Even though it's balanced, it still doesn't work. Look at this. Look at this. Always look at the external shape. S. Number of options. I like this S. Up. Oh. I like that S. But I tend to use this S in the script. But if you make the bowl bigger, so where are we at? Remember to mark it off. You get that, which is really nice and balanced. Then you have up, press, release, press, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4. W. $55, $50, $55, $50. They can't all be on the 55, because if they're all on the 55, what you'll get is this. And that is not a W.
That's weird.
I sometimes do this first because I might want to add a nice big flourish at the front. Lowercase W, up and a half, and turn and a whole, up and a half, and turn and a whole, and a reverse comma, and a half, and a stop. You have to stop. Don't sort of think it'll go, woo! Because it will always mess up. It'll always mess you up. D. Ooh, let's do the F first. So F, this is your baseline, that is your cap height. Like the T, you have to consider that there is a crossbar at the top of the F. So the F has to be lower one-sixth lower than the cap height, and down and out. Do you see how that goes under the line? And that goes just a little over the line. So that's your counterbalance. And this does this. I mean, I love this letter because I then come I come round from here, and I go to here, and I come up, and I cross there. See this? See this? Can you see them? You have this. You have this. You have this. You have this. It's the same shape repeating itself. You get it wrong and it sort of doesn't look right, and you're not sure why it's not right. The F and the T are the same. Minuscule F. Right. Number variations. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, this is where you make a choice. You can either play with it, or you can go to there and join to another letter. You can go to here, you could join to another letter there, you can go to there, you can go down to 1 and to the baseline and join there and cross there.
And that one's shorter.
This is shorter. And you have another short F, which is that,
Even shorter.
which is even shorter. So if you're feeling particularly lazy,
I'm gonna eat that.
and so this is another crossbar, which is really beautiful. Go up and out. So we have a little ball serif here, a fine line here, a flat crossbar here, and a loop here. And of course, my favorite, because it's mine, the flourish climbing hairline stroke. And I know it looks really big here, but on a page, it's so delicate because it's just the hairline. Because you're going up on the nib, so there's no way you're pressing anyway. The only place you press is here. And even this is parallel, the jot is parallel to the 55. So the balance is always there. And, you know, we could pull this apart. You have an ellipse here, we have an ellipse here. This ellipse is at this angle, this ellipse is at 55. This is a complementary angle to 55. Then we have, from this point, we have another ellipse here, we have one here, we have one here. Do you see how they are slowly flattening? 1, 2, 3. Magical. Love the geometry. Right, the D. You know, everybody loves the letter D. Remember, mark off, mark off. Right. Remember the 50 and the 55. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're on a 55, which is that one. Come down and out and around and back. Where are we going? Are we going here? Now we're going here.
Is that just a half or a whole?
That's a half. But it's a 55. It's a 55-50 interaction. Because this is a sixth past the foot. So it's only a sixth past the 55. Now, lots of people say to me that they find this D is too narrow. At no point there is a circle. If you do this, you have a circle. So it sort of feels quite bulky
Much prefer.
when it comes to forming the structure of the script. So other variations. Doesn't quite work because this doesn't feel like part of the script. It's like a whole different shape which we've never seen before. So just be conscious of your D. And of course for the minuscule, now, this is a point of interest. I very rarely write like this. Because this is not a necessary shape. We don't need this here. We just need the D. Consequently, we don't need it on the front of the A. So why do you practice it? The ligature isn't necessary there. It's necessary to learn how the ligature works. Down and up and over and back and out and out and up and down and over and back and out and down and around. And so it's necessary to learn how this works, and up and over and back and down and out. But when you're practicing the letter, why do you do this and not this? Because too many people do that and then this. And if you make a straight stroke here, you'll end up with a flattened point there. So when you're practicing the shapes, you have to be conscious of what you're actually practicing. Oh, lovely. Okay, so that's there. That's there. That is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Where is the crossbar? It's not up here. It's here. Because this trumpeting volume is equal to this pointed space up here. So when you see people do this, that's not really where the crossbar of the A is, because well, there's no structure. It looks like a shark. It's a shark's fin at the top of some water. Alright, so just be conscious of your shark's fin. Keep it narrow. Remember the parallelogram. Keep it within the lines. If it goes over just a little bit of that baseline, which the E tends to do, unless you really plan, keep it up, keep it up. There's a tendency for the top ball to always sort of grow. So, I keep mine up here. Otherwise it's enormous. One, two, three, 4, 5. I. Why is there a dimple in the top of the I? Because in Roman capitals, you do this. And when you come back in, you do that. So you end up with that. That is why this exists, because of this. You know, if you want to learn to write good capitals in any script, you always have to learn or look to the historical Roman caps. J, so I difference my J by a curl, K, they are both on the 55. So when you do a K and you do this, So do you see, even when I'm doing it, I'm marking it off. When you do this, where is that facing? It's facing there. And so when you come out and you do this, well, this is, it's just going to fall over, right? Up, down, out, like the D. Where is this foot? The foot is on the 55 as the outer loop is on the 55. So they balance each other. And this is in, because you don't want this to be that long. Look at this. Look at this. So this helps you to work out how far out this is in relation to this. Now, this is a beautiful L. I love this L. Of course, you could go in and add some little flourishes. Make it really pretty. Add some little acanthus leaves. Go to town. Because you know that line of universal beauty stem is the basis for the acanthus leaf. M. Keep it narrow. Keep it narrow. Always keep the M narrow. If the M does this, see the wiggle? Up and wiggle. This does not exist in the script. Up, down, up, and down, and under, and lift, and out. It's a narrow shape. Okay, fine, in the Roman capitals, it's one of the biggest bigger shapes. It's the second largest shape after the W, but not in copperplate. Oh.
What would you do if you were going to make it fancier?
The M? Oh. Fancy.
Because it's a beautiful
You mean
letter.
a little bit more decorative?
Yes, I do with you.
Fancier. So funny.
It's a nice word. It's an old word.
So I would do this. This is one of the M's I use. And you could bring this around and through there, or you can do this.
Wow.
I love this M.
Oh, we'll take a bit. I'll take my phone. Do you mind?
So next we have N. Stay on those 55s. N. The N is a hairline stroke at the top. Little bit of pressure in the middle. And then another hairline stroke. The N is not a V. Because the V sits on the line of universal beauty and it has a 50. This is not this. And these are parallel to each other. So this is not even on the 55, it's not even on the 50. Keep the O narrow. So I difference the O like this. So I have more weight on the outside than I do on the inside. Now, there is another O you could do this. If you really have the inclination to. P, keep the left bowl low. Why? Because you have a lot of space to fill. If you do this, it doesn't really sit with the rest of the letters. Q, like an O, or like a 2. How do you not make it like a 2? Drop it to the 6th. Because if it's too high, well, it's a 2. But you drop it to the 6th. And you see that axis is rotating around to a horizontal axis. Can you see that? So your focal point for the letter is just there. Just where this comes out to, which happens to be and you see how the geometry is working. R, keep the bowl deep, keep these on the 55. S, big bowl. Now, most people would do this. They put a wiggle. It's not a wiggle, it's on that 55, so you get that. T, we saw like the F. U. So with the U, keep it deep. Okay, now, why have I done this so deep? Because if you try to do it higher, you don't have enough upward movement to take you down and under and up and over and back on the 55. So if it's too tight here, you'll end up with that. So it splays open, which you don't want. The other way to do the U is to do this. Drop this down a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is to do this. And to add this. I wouldn't do this first because, you know, it helps you to with the spacing. V, we saw baseline up, W, keep it narrow, X, Y. This is really problematic. This is such a tight shape. So when you come down and up, notice the relationship of these two shapes. X, Y, and Z. Okay. See, I'm on the 55. Let's just do that G again. Do you see how I'm taking those turns? The tighter the turn, the more difficult it is. So I'm really slowing down on that turn. So do you see how I'm having to use my body for the bigger lines? If I'm using my body for the bigger lines, you have to use your arm. You can't just use your fingers for these lines.
Tried it.
Hmm?
I tried it.
So I'd make that a little bit bigger. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Much better. So that's a little bit slightly too low to do this. I'm not on the 55 there, but that's a better M than this, because this has gone all the way across. Let's just sort of, let me just wipe this off quickly.
Wow.
So that gives you a real sense of how the writing works. How do you see how rhythmic it is? And you know, when I come to a big stroke, I sort of start either using my body, or I sort of have to nod my head a little bit to help with the slowing down of it. It's a lot to do in such a tight space. So you have to take it slowly. You can't do it quickly. Rolling around on the fingers and sort of shooting out at corners just doesn't work because the turns are really problematic. And the only way the turns work is if you give the tool the time to make the shape. And if you breathe. If you exhale on the stroke, exhale on the downstroke, and inhale on the upstroke. And count. You know, if you're counting, it's a really problematic letter. The J is a really problematic letter because at that size, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have, remember to inhale first, ghost it, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17. So, but I've not sort of blown myself out to do it. I'm breathing, so exhale, inhale, exhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. You know, I'm not holding my breath for that, otherwise I'd be on the floor. So be really conscious of the breathing and how it works. Okay? Right. So let's get some writing done.
It's 5 o'clock.
What?
It's 5:05. Can you tell us